Hello, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host, Aaron James, the channel that brings you all the latest Rangers news, views, opinions, and, of course, your views as well. We're going to talk a little bit of Ianis Hagi this morning. Neil Mccann, obviously, has been talking about Ianis and the difference he's been making to Rangers. We did touch on this on the podcast last night. Some more on that. We also talk a little bit about Jack Butland and why he missed the game on Saturday. And a possible transfer, like another young up-and-coming player. Another young player that very much fits that trading model, Isaac Price, formerly of Everton. We'll talk a little bit about him. Just one quick aside, guys. New channel launched this morning. It is launching this morning, 7 p.m. The first video dropped. The football podcast with me, Owen James. It's all to do with the SPL, the Scottish Cup, Scottish League Cup, which is over now for this season, Europa League, Conference League, Champions League, guys. So please, obviously, check that out and drop a sub on that. We'd love to get to 1,000 subs as soon as possible on that channel. Well, I want to start off with some positive news. Now, Jack Butland missed the game on Saturday, and I know what people are thinking, oh God, not another Rangers injury, and especially not to Super Jack Butland. No, thank God, it was no injury, and it wasn't flu either. You know, flu had taken over the Rangers camp during the week, but it wasn't flu either. No, Super Jack and his family are celebrating the birth of another child. I think it's his fourth child. There is Super Jack with his new baby. This was on his Instagram. It said a special day for us as a family for another reason. Obviously, that was on top of the result, the positive result, a positive day for the Butland family as it increased by another one. Jack with his safe hands there holding the baby. So congratulations to Jack Butland. Congratulations to Mrs. Butland and all of the family on the new safe arrival of your child. Fantastic news. Just so close to Christmas. What a wonderful Christmas present for the Butland family. Right, we'll get to Isaac Price shortly, so hang on for that. We've got some take on the possible signing of Isaac Price, a midfield player for Rangers. Midfield does seem to be the go-to option at the moment, doesn't it? With Olaru linked, Soldo linked, and now Price linked. But first of all, we're going to talk about a midfielder who is certainly doing the job for Rangers, and that is Ianis Hagi. Now, last night on the podcast, if you didn't catch it, it's called The Final Word. It is on the channel homepage. Check it out on the live tab. I waxed lyrical about Ianis, talked about the difference that he'd made to the team. Talked about, how I really feel that his return to the side had coincided with the improvement in Rangers' form. A lad who quite clearly loves the club. And we'll talk about his future in a moment. However, Neil Mccann, former Rangers player, has been speaking about Ianis Hagi and the difference he feels that he has made to the club. This is what Neil Mccann had to say. He says, I was probably one that felt when he was playing with the Bees that he could offer something for the Rangers first team. It says a lot about the boy's attitude, which I feel is absolutely first class, and he was prepared to take a hit with the suggestion his money would go up. Being almost cast aside, then brought into the side once more, I feel he has completely reinvigorated the front line because he offers a variation of play. He's really clever, and one of his best attributes is his awareness of the game. Now, there's a bit more to this quote, so hang on for that. It is upcoming shortly. But, you look at what Neil Mccann has said there, and I think you couldn't have put it better. I couldn't put it better myself. And, Neil Mccann, a man who understands Rangers, a man who gets Rangers and, will speak up for us on the sports scene when you get people out who are pro-Celtic spouting their nonsense. And he's right. Ianis, first of all, I think the first point to pick out from that is that Ianis's attitude throughout this whole season has been absolutely first class. There was a time, wasn't there, when Ianis wasn't getting first team action, when he was in the B team because of this perceived raise that he was meant to get, but the club didn't want to pay him. There was that whole issue around that, and that obviously, was credit to Ianis. He could have easily, refused to play, could have spat his dummy out the pram, could have said he wanted to raise. But no, he turned up for training every day with the B team. He played with the B team. He never gave up, did he? He professed his love for the club in that Instagram statement that he made as well. So, fair play to him that his attitude was brilliant and he wanted to fight his way back into the first team. And I think, he has, like I said on the podcast last night, and like Mccann says here, he's made a huge difference. His variation of play, his ability to shift it, to go past someone, to spray the ball out, to switch play. his ability to change things, to keep the defenders guessing, which, especially against a low block, is a key thing, has been, I think, no coincidence that Rangers play has improved and their attacking play has improved with Ianis in the side. And, yes, Neil Mccann is right. Ianis Hagi does have an absolutely excellent awareness of the game. He gets the game, doesn't he? He understands the game. He reads the game really, really well. And people talk about his lack of pace. And yes, he's not the quickest. But that first yard is in your head. And Ianis certainly has that yard. Mccann went on to say this: he's so strong on both sides, left foot and right foot, and he wants to go in behind, and he's looking at crosses, but as a mixture, a variation of play from a wide area. It's allowed Bayrami, who was good in the cup final, to play in that 10 position, which is probably where he was acquired to play. It's also just given Rangers a lot of fluidity, and outside of that, his work rate has been brilliant. And there certainly seems to be a fluidity of attack. And I wouldn't perceptually say that Hagi is playing left wing or right wing or anything. I think him and Bayrami and Cheney and him and Danilo and all those players, really do interchange positions. There really is a fluidity to play. And I think, when you're coming up against a low block week in, week out, and you're coming up against teams that don't particularly want to play football against you and want to just defend for their lives, it's that fluidity, it's that motion of the front sort of 3 to 5 players that kind of help to open the door and create chances, because, the movement of players sows doubt in defenders' minds, doesn't it? It really does. It makes defender think, well, do I stick? Do I twist? Do I go? Do I stand? What do I do? Or do I come out? Do I stay back? What do I do? And it creates that doubt. And that's when that chance can be created, or that ball can be slipped through, or the player can run through and have a chance to obviously score. And, Hagi is right. He's had the right. Hagi's had a fair few assists since he's come back into the team. Some quality assists in recent games. He can cross the ball really well. He can play off both sides. And Neil Mccann's right, in all that he says. And I think it's wrong to underestimate the contribution that Ianis has made to this Rangers side since he's returned to it, and I think the manager's quite clearly seen this, this talent he's got and this ability to change things. I mean, 3 assists in the league in 7 appearances that Ianis has got, since he's returned to action, and certainly we hope that he will return to the Euro squad once Rangers qualify from this rather long and convoluted league stage. But Hagi, for me, has really impressed and has played very, very well indeed. And you've got to say that Neil Mccann is very, very right in all he says. And, as well, we've had a chance where, Bayrami can play in that 10 role when he's come on or when he started. And it's given Bayrami a bit of freedom as well, hasn't it? And I think, he was really wasted out on the left wing. But having that ability where Hagi and Bayrami can interchange positions when both of them are playing together as well, all helps with that ability to unlock defences, create chances, and just be that little bit of something different. And I think, it's so nice, isn't it, to be sitting and actually talking on a Monday morning about a Rangers win and talking about a positivity around the squad at the moment. And obviously with the fact that Celtic dropped points on Sunday and the gap is now down to 9, there's a new kind of found vigour and hope within the squad and within the fan base. And I think Ianis has kind of been central to that, hasn't he, in the way that he's come in, and he's looked quality in all the games. He really has. And his distribution, his passing, his ability to run in behind, his ability to shoot is first class. And I thought he was really unlucky not to get a goal on Sunday. So look, spot on from Neil Mccann. Echo what he says, and hopefully Hagi can continue, go from strength to strength, continue to get his fitness up, continue to play as he is, and continue to be a useful part of this Rangers team and really help to take us from strength to strength. Right, let's talk a little bit about this young man here, Isaac Price. Now, Isaac Price has been linked in the media this weekend with a move to Rangers. So who is Isaac Price? Where's he come from? Who is he? I mean, I must admit, one of the viewers on the podcast last night mentioned Isaac Price as a player. I must admit, when I heard it, I'm glad it wasn't Harvey Price. But Isaac Price, who is he? What sort of player is he? What can he bring to Rangers? Well, he's a midfield player. Isaac Jude Price, he's called. He's 21 years old, from Pontefract in England. Came through the youth system at Everton. Joined them when he was a 7-year-old, and graduated through their age ranges. Even though he's born in Pontefract in England, he is a Northern Ireland international. Price, like I say, is 21. He is over 6 foot. He's a big guy, really tall guy, 1.93 meters. He has Northern Irish and English citizenship. He plays as a midfielder, a central midfielder. He's right-footed. He is currently under contract to Standard Liège, where he moved from Everton. Standard Liège do have a bit of reputation for taking young English talent and young talent as well. 27, he's under contract until 2027. Now he can play as a central midfielder, as a defensive midfielder, and as an attacking midfielder. So he can fulfill all those roles. So he is a player who I think can add a bit of variety to that midfield. And I think people have talked, haven't they, about the fact that yes, we have Raskin, yes, we have Dio, yes, we have Barron, yes, we have a number of players, Ianis Hagi as well, who can all play in those midfield roles. But I think, when there was players missing, when, suspensions with the number of games we've got coming up, and, between sort of that Christmas and January period, three games a week, the Europa League in January, obviously 23rd and the 30th, there's a lot of games coming up, and I think there's a need to sort of strengthen the midfield and bring in some more players. Now, it does very much seem that midfield is an area that the club are looking at. Obviously, Darius Olaru recently linked, not just Olaru, but also Marco Soldo, the Croatian, was linked as well. There doesn't even seem to be a large number of midfield players linked at the moment. Now, I know that media speculation and paper talk can be just that, an absolute load of bollocks. And we certainly hope it is in relation to Hamza Igman and all the Premier League clubs sniffing round. But look, it's fun still to look into it, fun to find out about these players. Yes, there may be players that never ever wear the blue of Rangers, but it's still interesting to find out about them, because if they do, then we know a little bit about them. Price, in terms of his stats, again, this is a young lad. He is still developing. He's 21 years old. He is definitely another player who would be a bit of a project to bring on. In terms of what Price has achieved, in this season, and we'll talk a bit about his overall stats, his goals, assists, etc. Non-penalty XG is in the 91st percentile with him. His shots total is in the 88th percentile. His shot creating actions are in the 75th percentile. Now, his goals and assists are a little bit weak. Goals in the 13th percentile and assists in the 34th percentile, which may be a bit of a concern there. Passes attempted, again, he's low at the moment. Progressive carries, though, is very good at carrying the ball forward, 85th percentile. Is a player who's always offering for the ball, gets a lot of touches in games, 82nd percentile. Progressive passes received, meaning he moves into forward areas, he's in the 94th percentile. Blocks, clearances and aerials won are all good as well. Now, in terms of this lad, in terms of where he's played this season, he's made 9 appearances as a central midfielder, 5 on the right of midfield, 1 as a right winger and 1 as a defensive midfield player. Now, he's currently with Standard Liège. He's played for Northern Ireland as well, so obviously he's a teammate of Ross McCausland's. He's made 59 appearances for Standard Liège, 1 goal, 2 assists, so not overly impressive statistics in terms of assists and goals. With Everton's under 21s, he made 64 appearances, 5 goals, 5 assists, 19 appearances for their under 18s, and played 3 times for Everton in the men's first team. I think this is a very raw talent, and I think would be a player that perhaps wouldn't be ready for January, ready to go from January. He seems to me to be a project player, a player who Rangers would bring in, train, develop, and then hopefully, in a couple of months' time would be ready. Now, I think if this is a player that we're interested in, this is probably better for a summer deal than a January deal. I would personally rather see this type of player arrive in the summer. I think we need players in January who can come in, hit the ground running and go from game one. Price's stats don't really impress me, and some of his XG, some of his percentiles are not overly impressive either. I think he is more, like I said, a player who will need time to be trained, need time to be improved, which could happen under the coaching staff. But I don't feel this is a good move for January. I'd much rather see, if we're going to invest in January, players like Olaru, players like Soldo, players who can come in, hit the ground running from game one, and really impact the team and actually be somebody that adds something to the team. We don't really need players at this moment in time who are squad players in terms of their developmental pieces. We need players who can come in, can take part in that rotation, can play, can really, move the club on. We've seen other players linked, Ryan Philippe, for instance, Asalani. But I'll be honest with you, this lad, like I said, I think is, for me, would be more a summer deal. I mean, it may be that Rangers are looking at him in January. I don't know. I'm not privy to those discussions, obviously. I would just counsel against it because I just feel that, like I said, I want players who are ready to go from day one in January, not players who are going to come in January and not be ready till March to play. We can't afford, where we are at the moment with the fact we've brought that gap down to have any sort of period where there is any downturn in form or downturn full stop. So for me, personally speaking, price will be better, I think, for the summer. Guys, I'd love to know your opinion. What do you think? Is price one for you, or you're not impressed, or what do you think? Let me know. But look, whatever happens, I think, we look at Niels Koppen, the job he's doing. We look at, obviously, Patrick Stewart now coming in. And this is a really critical period now as we move towards the end of December. We're on the 23rd of December and it's 8 days left of December. And then we're into January and the window's open. So, I think obviously plans will have been made. Hopefully budgets will have been set. Hopefully we're at a position where the club are ready to go and ready to run. And I've already even perhaps started talking to clubs and players ahead of January, to try and sanction some moves and get some moves over the line. But, we do need to strengthen the squad, I honestly believe. Right, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, please smash the sub, smash the like, comment, share, all that fantastic stuff. And remember to check out the new channel as well, the Football Podcast with Owen James. Thanks for watching. Back to speak to you very soon. As always, please remember, we are the people.